EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Get to know the winners, props, plays, parlays, and more with Nielsen and Hustler. Weekday mornings at 11 on The Lock Shop. Only on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Two guys and a goalie.
I think we're going to see some big things from Evander Kane this year.
You think so? Like if he stays healthy, like 40 goals or something?
He's used to Edmonton now. He's solidified, I think, his place in the dressing room. I think there's a comfort factor that takes a little bit of time.
Two guys and a goalie with Gager, Cassian, and Nielsen. Tuesday and Thursdays at noon. Only on Edmonton Sports Talk.
Welcome back, everybody. We've got the rankings of importance that we're going to get to. Sorry, a little bit of hiccup in the stream there, but it actually worked out well because we were in a break, and we're going to be able to dive right into Tommy's rankings of importance.
Yay.
Hopefully people will have to
I like
pop over to
the
the
text
stream.
that came over. It said, I'd pay a subscription to watch T-Biscuit's hair.
What do you think?
I think that was Original George who sent that in. I think that's funny. I think that would
be
wouldn't
pretty
pay
funny.
for that, but thank you, Original George.
Yeah, that would be pretty funny, actually. We'll see what ends up happening on that front. As always, the Oil Stream is brought to you by our great partners at Boston Pizza. I think I saw Boston Pizza tweet it today. Let us cook for you tonight. And
Yes.
why wouldn't you? It's nice to do. We'll be at another Boston Pizza location later this month for another live episode of the Oil Stream. So make sure you make plans for that. We will announce that hopefully later this week or early next week, where our next live on location will be with them. And then we are sitting here in the Popeyes Louisiana Kitchen Studios. Obviously, Popeyes, a longtime presenter of the Oil Stream as well. Yeah, pretty much.
It's a friendship.
Yeah, they've been around for a long time. So
Yeah.
huge shout out to Furby and the crew there. They've got some new wings that they got going on over there. And of course, that blackened chicken sandwich is absolutely delicious. All right, Tommy, let's get into our weekly, or I was going to say the weekly rankings of power, but
Yeah,
it is
I
the
heard that.
rankings of importance. We are looking at, did you hear the weekly rankings of power today?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, they were good.
Yeah, I did.
They were good.
On my way in, I was actually on. No, I wasn't on time. On time, I was here.
You were
I think
earlier than I thought today because I put you at 8:30 and it was 8:20.
8:19, I would
Yeah.
argue, but whatever.
Take us through the first
10.
Yeah.
I think 11 with the honorable mention, which was Calvin Pickard.
You got the Calvin Pickard honorable mention, which I
want
just
to
love.
make that clear. He's an honorable mention. You never know. You might need him. Lane Peterson at 25. Raphael Lavoie at 24. Marcus Niemelainen at 23. Drake Caggiula at 22. I know Original Puzar wants to debate that. I guess we could. It is the offseason. What offseason? Sam Gagner at 21. Dylan Holloway at 20. Warren Fogle at 19. Vinny Desharnais 18. Philip Broberg 17. And one Derek D-Rock D.R. Ryan. All those very creative nicknames that they've given him.
All right, number 15, buddy. I think this is where it gets really interesting. If you're watching on the YouTube thing, sorry about the hiccup with the stream, but we are back. And if you were listening online, feel free to chime in here as well. Hey, guys, when do your apps come out for iOS and Android? We're working on that, John. Sit tight for just a second. We got hopefully some more news in the next couple of weeks on some stuff like that. 780-218-9999 if you want to chime in the inbox today, and we'll get to a few more of those as we work our way through this show. 15, Tommy.
Number 15, one Matthias Janmark.
There he is. You love this guy.
I just respect what he brings to the table. It isn't sexy. It's reliable for the most part. And, you know, this is a depth player. He's been a good NHLer for a while. They got him on a decent price, and he'll be back. And I don't think we should expect anything flashy from him outside of playing great against his former teams, and there's quite a few of them already. Janmark's versatile, and you can slot him in different places. He can moonlight a little bit. I don't think it'd be great to see him in the top 6 ever, but this is a player that I think goes unheralded. At last preseason, people were like, what? Matthias Janmark, and they're watching him in those games, and like, this guy doesn't do anything. It's like, yeah, he's very steady, but you notice that nothing really happens against the Oilers when they're on the ice. And,
Fair enough.
And then, you know, every now and then he gives you a flash of brilliance offensively, and he's actually good at handling the puck as well. He's confident with it when he gets it. He doesn't really make a lot of boneheaded mistakes. He usually makes the right safe play. And so, this is a guy that on a good team is down the depth chart and can provide some decent minutes for you and maybe some surprise offense from time to time and respectable penalty killing. Penalty killing is going to need to be better from the outset of the season for the Oilers. It was just downright atrocious at times last year. And Janmark, he said it outright to me too last season that he was pissed off when he got sent down, and that shouldn't be happening this year. So we know what Matthias Janmark is. We've had basically a full season to watch him in orange and blue, and that's why he finds himself, just at 15.
We'll get to some comments on Janmark just a second. If you're watching on YouTube, hit us up in the comment section. But to me, the way you just described him, and with when it was Yamamoto and Jesse Puljujarvi that were kind of mixed into like that third line whenever somebody wasn't playing well, they go down there. You've got McLeod. To me, the way you just described Matthias Janmark is a veteran. He's just a veteran, reliable presence in your bottom six, which is extremely important for a team that has championship contender heights.
And I always point back to 2017 when they built this team that almost went to the conference final, and they had a lot of depth veteran NHL players, reliable ones. Yes, there was a smattering of young guys. Slepyshev and Jujhar Khaira played a role, and Drake Caggiula as well, and Matt Benning that was his welcome to the NHL. But there was a lot of good, dependable veterans around them, on top of McDavid, Draisaitl, and Eberle and Nugent Hopkins at the time. Although Nugent Hopkins, it was relatively quiet playoffs for him that year. You need just good, reliable veteran NHLers that no matter what the stakes, no matter how, the ebbs and flows of the season are going, if the team's in a rut or they're riding a high of a nice winning streak, you've got guys that are giving you the same performance consistently, and it's a good one. And he's kind of one of those guys. And it's not appealing to the eye. I'm sure the numbers aren't that sexy. I'm sure the war charts are like, average. But at the end of the day, it's effective, and he tends to be on winning teams.
A couple of comments on Matthias Janmark, and once again in the YouTube chat, or if you're listening right now in your car, or you're listening at work or whatever, you're not watching, but you're listening, 780-218-9999 is how you can interact with us. Wilson the Volleyball says, isn't Janmark the guy to move up into the top six right wing over Holloway on his off wing if Connor Brown slumps? And then this one follows up and says, Michael says, I don't mind Janmark playing a handful of games with Draisaitl if we need temporary elevation because a higher depth chart player is slumping. He showed last year that he can handle it in short spans reliably, which I would agree with.
Yeah, I don't think it's an ideal scenario, but it can happen. He has done it. And we've watched Jay Woodcroft just jumble things up with his lines. And, he's the coach that recognizes if a guy's going, and he'll elevate him in the lineup in game or in period. And if a guy's not going, then he'll bump him back a little bit. But yeah, it's interesting. I think that Connor Brown question mark is a valid one. What will his knee be like? How will he adapt to his new team? But in a perfect world, he is solidified in that top six. But yeah, at times you get a little dose of Janmark here and there. I personally think that Holloway would be a better choice, but it depends on how Holloway's playing and how he comes out of the gates. But, naturally, skill-wise, I think Holloway's the better player, more dangerous offensively, but he still needs to figure out how to become a consistent National Hockey League player, which Matthias Janmark is.
Janmark is one of those guys that if they decided to go, and, you've said it, we talked about it on this show already, but when they decide to go McDavid, Draisaitl, Nuge for 3 or 4 games.
Whenever, yeah.
Janmark's one of those guys that you can slide up to play with a Draisaitl, and then Nuge can take Hyman with him down to the third line or something along those lines. And those guys are important.
Yeah, you want to roll and come at teams in waves and all of that. That's one way to do it, and it's kind of nice that they have that opportunity, option, and depth to do stuff like that.
All right, Matthias Janmark, number 15 on Tommy's rankings of importance. Number 14, Tommy.
Number 14, this is a guy that, he could push himself up a little bit, but I really think that Ryan McLeod at 14 still, now he's got a real NHL ticket, and he's an NHL player now, and we'll see if he can elevate himself to becoming that guy that can either A, be the day-to-day third-line center, de facto third-line center, and really own that role now and minimize the mistakes in his game and always be reliable, again, like Janmark. But Ryan McLeod, this is a big year for him to take a step up and try to push himself to become a full-fledged, really reliable third-line guy, especially at center. I think we're going to see him on the wing at times. The penalty kill element as well. You'll get that second unit power play touch every now and then. But yeah, this is a guy that, I don't think he's going to go a lot higher on this list for the time being. And he settles in here, and that's okay. Maybe he'll jump up a couple of spots in the years coming up, but I think it's okay at 14.
Maybe a couple of spots.
Yeah.
Like maybe it gets to a point where next year, if he's had a decent year, he's number 12. But there's just so much depth in front of him. And then you mix in, 3 or 4 defensemen and you get to the goalies. It's just... This is almost peak level.
It's not a slight.
Almost peak level. No, not a slight in any way.
Not when you're deep.
No, but if he established himself if we have people, tuning in on Edmonton Sports Talk, watching or listening or whatever on the podcast and want to chime in, if we have people come December being like, wow, holy smokes, like Ryan McLeod is really taking a step and he's a pretty reliable third line center right now, then maybe does creep up this list a little bit higher next year. But
I said this on Monday, I put an emphasis on the blue line on this list this year going into the season, but part of team defense is the forwards helping out, and he'll have to have a big role in that. But yeah, you'll see as we move along, the defensemen I prioritize and put him up higher.
Mike says, I'm sort of over McLeod. Does he do anything besides skate fast? Need to see something from him soon, or it's time to upgrade that spot. Now, I'm not going to completely argue with Mike, because for the longest time, I always just viewed him as a guy who skated really fast and didn't want to hit anything.
Yeah, which he was.
And he still is a little bit, but he's getting more involved in there. But I also think his overall decision making has improved quite a bit.
Yeah, and I mean, how much shorter are we making the leash? Mike sounds like a guy that demands excellence now, and I understand that, especially given all that we talked about in the first segment. I think Ryan McLeod is being given an opportunity to grow into something, and the Oilers probably feel the same way as Mike, and they want to see him contribute more consistently offensively, albeit in somewhat limited minutes. It's up to him, but he's going to get that opportunity to try to take the bull by the horns and become a steady player, and maybe his touches get a little bit better. Maybe he fires more pucks to the net when he's wheeling around in the offensive zone, and at the end of the day, you hope that becomes more offense, because I think he's capable of more offense. Certainly, he started out great last year and then kind of tapered off. And there were nights where you're like, "Wow, Ryan McLeod's really having a night. He's skating around really well, fast, and logging the puck up the ice and all that stuff." But there were other nights where you're like, "Did McLeod play tonight?" And then he got hurt, tough injury. Obviously, missed a good chunk of time, and then tried to find his game late in the season and into the playoffs.
All right, Matthias Janmark, Ryan McLeod, 15 and 14, number 13 on the rankings of importance.
Here we go. Defenseman, one Brett Kulak, who is the third pairing left D-man. And
so you're elevated, you're putting the third pairing D above the third line, essentially.
Well, I had Desharnais and Broberg further down, but that's because of just, Desharnais limited NHL starts and had a tough few games in the playoffs, and Broberg really still figuring it out. And, will Broberg, this is me asking, will he be an Oiler by the end of the season? I don't know. I don't know. The opportunity could present itself where he takes the ball and he runs with it and he becomes the sixth guy ahead of Desharnais. That's possible. But Brett Kulak, for the money they're paying him, he's just reliable, steady. He doesn't really make a fuss about anything. And he's a guy that when a guy's playing poorly on the back end, that you can elevate and you're
be happy with it.
He's fine.
And he's
good stopgap for a game or two. And I think Brett Kulak being your third pairing left D is an indication of, even the depth that you have on the blue line if the guys ahead of him are playing well.
My dad had texted in.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Are you in trouble? HR violation?
No, I don't know what he's Yeah, well,
Eric wants to know.
It doesn't tie. I have the T1s. They're sitting in my bag right here. We got to sign them.
Oh, great.
So I have the T1s, but it is illegal as it is a violation of employers' privacy. I feel like that's from something else we were talking about. I don't think that tied into.
No, I don't know where this is.
I don't know. Yeah. What are you doing? What are you doing? Stop texting in. Stop texting in right now.
He texted into the text line?
My dad texted into the text line. It was like, because he's helping with some of the HR stuff. And I see Lieutenant Eric has replied and said, "Keep turning the screw, Mr. Nielsen."
Oh, boy. Oh, that's a beef.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna have
I think this is your dad calling an HR violation on you. Thank you, Mr. Nielsen.
No, listen.
We need to have a meeting.
We'll save I Got Beef till tomorrow. We got on the Nielsen Show, brand new segment. I Got Beef. We're gonna get into that. All right, number 12. So we got Janmark, we've got McLeod, we've got Kulak. I'm trying to think where's Tommy Gazzoli gonna go for number 12 here. This is okay. Go ahead, 12.
All right. Newest Oiler, very, people are pretty excited, I think, for the most part. Connor Brown.
Oh, yeah, Connor Brown.
We'll go with Connor Brown.
Connor Brown.
He'll slide up and down depending on, how the team's playing, how he gels with maybe a McDavid. Maybe he has a thing with Draisaitl. Maybe Hyman needs to get moved down. I don't know. But Connor Brown's now that reliable. He's supposed to be that reliable right winger with a little bit of offensive pop, steady in his own zone. Maybe some PK time, which would be ideal. And if that knee holds up, that's an if. That's a big if, I think. But Connor Brown, I have in there at number 12. I don't think that the expectation is unreasonable for him, but I don't think the expectation is super high. Like, you need to get 50, Connor Brown, or you need to get 60. It's just you need to provide more than what Jesse Puljujärvi or Kailer Yamamoto was able to provide consistently or inconsistently, because that's what they were.
You need to get
40 at least.
18 goals, almost 40 points.
40 points at least.
40
I'm
points.
setting the bar
and like he plays
minimum at 40
like
points.
The other thing with Yamamoto and Jesse Puljujärvi, they were in the top 6 for a bit, then they're out of the top 6 for a bit.
They were always in the top 6 mostly, except for Puljujärvi. He got bumped down.
Yamamoto was pretty much in the top 6 all the time.
Yes.
If Connor Brown is established into the top 6, you're right. He's got to at least have 40 points.
Yeah.
At least have 40
At
points.
least 50 would be a good season. 60 would be excellent because the horses or thoroughbreds in front of him, they're eating up the majority of the good minutes.
All right, number 11 on your list.
This is the last one of the show.
Yeah, I know. And then we've got 10 more for the next couple of episodes. But
number 11.
Where are you going here?
Cody Bartholomew Ceci.
Cody Ceci.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? I do think the top 10 is pretty cut and dry.
Yeah.
Right.
There's some
Basically
really good
what you
players
got
in
there.
the top 10 and guys that are going to be relied upon.
5 forwards, 2 goalies, 3D.
Yes.
Yeah.
But Cody Ceci, don't get me wrong, again, very valuable. Much like Connor Brown and Brett Kulak, it's just there's better NHL players ahead of him on this list. And I know he didn't have the perfect season or an ideal season for a lot of people. There were nights where he struggled. There were nights where him and Darnell Nurse, they're out there a lot, and other teams' top players at times made them look silly. That does happen. I'm not saying that's an excuse, but Cody Ceci comes in at number 11. I think he probably wants to have a more consistent year, one much similar to his first as an Oiler, and I'm sure he's capable of it. Again, a guy that's not going to wow you offensively, but just as long as he's good in his own zone, as long as he's picking up the checks in front of the net, as long as he's breaking up cycles and making a good first pass out, I don't think that the demand out of Cody Ceci is going to be ridiculous or anything like that. So be steady, be reliable, eat up minutes, and don't make that crucial mistake.
Is there a chance with the continued development of a couple young defensemen that Cody Ceci gets kind of settled in this year as a possible third pairing guy?
To me, asking that today, I would say that would have to be Philip Broberg really taking a step.
You don't see Desharnais
Not really.
having the ceiling, or his ceiling would keep him out of that spot. But you're thinking if Broberg elevates, does well, play him on the right side. Like that's if it goes really well for Broberg.
I'm curious. I said this about Desharnais. I'm curious to see how he's worked on his game going into what will be his second NHL season, and maybe he worked on his skating and his footwork, but maybe also his anticipation and how he provides a presence in the defensive zone, gap control, and how he might not be the most fleet of foot, but how he's able to use what speed and skating ability he has to try to control attackers when he's on the defensive side of things in his own zone. And then if his first pass was okay. It wasn't anything perfect. There were some gaffes that he had in his own zone that did lead to goals. But I do think that it would be more likely if we're talking about Cody Ceci falling down the depth chart on the blue line, it's Philip Broberg really stepping up, and maybe he is getting a look with Ekholm, and that turns out to be a revelation of some sort. It's September 13th, but, as of now, I think Cody Ceci's planning on having a better year, being reliable as the fourth D-man on this team, and if he can do that, he's in at 11.
I can't wait for the top 10. It's going to be good. We'll do 5 more coming up on Friday, and then we'll get to 5 next Monday as well. And, training camp is not far away, which is exciting as well. The Oil Stream, as always, brought to you by our great partners at Popeyes and Boston Pizza and Cool Bet Canada, where you can go and bet on props right now for. Actually, I got a. We were talking about it on the Nielsen show earlier today. Let me just bring it up here, the Lock Shop chat, because I had. I think here we are. They've put in a request. So Pat from Cool Bet was watching or listening this morning. So at coolbet.com, you should hopefully see soon requests. I put in requests for points and goals on Hyman, Bouchard, and Kane. And then we also requested a Jack Campbell starts prop.
Ooh.
Yeah, I don't know where that number is going to come in at.
Yeah.
What would you set that number at? We don't have to pick it at over or under, but what would you set that?
38.5?
38.5?
Is that?
Yeah. I would
yeah.
think 38.5, 36.5, somewhere between 36 and 39.
Yeah.
I think probably be where that number sort of settles in. But you can watch for those. Those will be available hopefully here in the near future. I give them a little bit of time, obviously, with NFL bets busy, but they're going to try to get some more Oilers props up for us at coolbet.com. Popeyes here in the Popeyes Kitchen, Louisiana Kitchen Studios. They've got this on the go right now. This is great.
What do you got?
This launched early in September. Sweet and spicy wings, crispy breaded wings with spicy ghost pepper seasoning, tossed in a sweet chili sauce, 6 pieces or 12 pieces. How delicious
Give me the
does that
12.
sound? You want the 12. The guy wants the 12.
Give me the 12.
That's pretty bold.
Yeah, but I think that they also stay well, like in the fridge. So if
Okay,
you
so
can only
you're
get
going to
through
save some for later.
I'll nibble on
hate that.
4 of those later.
Yeah.
And do my own like ketchup barbecue sauce mix.
They also have a strawberry cream cheese fried pie. And of course, the family feast you can get your hands on if you want to feed the entire family. And Boston Pizza, great partners at Boston Pizza. We'll be doing another live oil stream from Boston Pizza a little bit later on this month. The turnout has been going; it's continuing to grow, which is awesome. We set up the speakers so you can hear the episode right there, live at Boston Pizza, which should be pretty fun. We're looking forward to doing that. That was really for a long time the only way we would do these together.
Yeah,
was at Boston Pizza.
That's right.
Now we get to do them in this kick-ass studio.
It is awesome.
So that is nice. All right, Tommy, we're going to get to your top 10 over the next couple of episodes, and that is going to do it for this Wednesday. It is Wednesday, isn't it?
It is Wednesday.
Yeah, that's going to do it for this Wednesday episode of the Oil Stream. We will be back on Friday. Nielsen Show back live tomorrow morning at 6 o'clock on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. If you're listening to the live stream right now, Nielsen Show replay will get rolling at 1 o'clock. And Maddie, what do we have tonight? Oh, that Turf District. No, that's tomorrow night. Heavy hockey. Okay, heavy hockey show tonight at 9 o'clock. That'll be live as well. So they went live last night. It was awesome.
Good.
Yeah, we had another show on live last night as opposed to the podcast that we're airing
People are catching on.
It's exciting. It's exciting. That's going to do it for today's coverage for Matt Iwanek and Lieutenant Eric and Tommy Gazzola. I'm Dustin Nielsen. We will talk to you on Thursday morning.
The Lock Shop.
We've been doing this for a long time. We spend all this time salivating over the season. Sometimes, if you haven't learned your lesson, you go hard betting on week 1, and then we get ready to get into week 3 of the season going, what the hell were we talking about for a month leading into the season? Because everything we thought was the case was wrong. So I always tread a little lightly, and I try not to make these so definitive takes. Things can change very, very quickly, or maybe they have, and we just haven't seen it yet.
The Lock Shop with Nielsen and Hustler. Weekday mornings at 11, only on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Catch up with friends of EST, Andrew, Mike, and Kayla, as they get you in the huddle with the Edmonton Elks on the Turf District. Thursday nights at 8, EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Friend of EST, Eric Thomas, takes you around the track all the way to the checkered flag on Raceline Radio. Tuesday nights at 8 and Saturday morning at 9. Only on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Join friend of EST, Guy Flaming, for The Pipeline Show, Monday nights at 8 and Saturday at noon, as he has you covered with CHL, CJHL, USHL, NAHL, NCAA, and U Sports, plus the World Juniors, Frozen Four, and NHL Draft on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Wake up with the Nielsen Show with Dustin Nielsen and Lieutenant Eric. Weekday mornings 6 to 9 on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Get to know the winners, props, plays, parlays, and more with Nielsen and Hustler. Weekday mornings at 11 on The Lock Shop. Only on EdmontonSportsTalk.com.